Hey people from Cultura in Peso, I am Fabi from Eluveitie and I'm sending greetings to all the viewers here in the world, and I had the pleasure to do an interview here, so make sure to check it out. Cheers!
Hi, I'm Mar Morannon and I'm here with Fabienne from Eluveitie.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. Or having me actually. Hello.
How are you doing today?
Very good. Actually, it's my birthday today. So
Your birthday?
it's like...
As a band or your
no,
birthday?
my birthday
happy
actually.
birthday.
So, thank you. No, so actually I was just, enjoying it today a lot. So I'm very good, yeah. Thank you.
Do you guys stop anywhere and do anything for it?
Actually today it was not that easy because somehow there is not that much around.
Yep.
Which is fine, I mean we don't mind, but I made myself a peanut butter jelly toast in the tour bus today, so I treated myself.
Living big.
Exactly.
So obviously this is your first tour without Kriegel and without Nicole. And so how's that been like different for you touring without them versus the normal status?
I mean, we already played without Nicole. We had replacements. I mean, when you're a mother, you just can't come all the time on tour. Same with Kai. He's also not here with us because he also is not flying. So that's a little bit hard to come overseas then. But of course, the biggest challenge, unexpected challenge for us was with Kriegel, of course. I mean, he is the main guy, and he's screaming, he's talking to the people, he's having the stage under control, and he's not here with us. And we really tried everything until the last moment. We didn't know how will it be, but now family is just priority, and sometimes you just can't go away for this amount of weeks that we're now on the road. And we just didn't know what to expect, what will come back from the people, because if Kriegel is missing a huge part, or Eluveitie is kind of not complete, and we were a little bit nervous. But then when we started in Baltimore, it was like, wow! I remember I really had goosebumps when I after the first song I said, guys, I'm sorry, we're in this unfortunate situation, Kriegel is not here, and they were just clapping, we love you, and then we knew, okay, people understand. And also the feedback that we got, be it online or on meet and greets or just interactive with people talking together, it's really overwhelmingly positive. It's really amazing. We really appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. We didn't know what to expect, but in this short notice to postpone the tour or to cancel it would have been bigger harm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that I was at the show last night, so the turnout was really great there as well. And then you mentioned that for tonight you have like one of the biggest meet and greets you've ever had.
Yeah.
Is that in the States or anywhere?
I think since I'm in the band, I think this must be the biggest. I don't think we ever had more than 50 people coming. But in the States, it's actually really a lot. We always have really quite some people coming, and it's really lovely to just meet and talk quickly and take some pictures, and I really love that part of the day. I would miss it if we wouldn't do it, so I'm very happy.
To get to like meet and interact with the fans a little bit?
Yeah.
So, I know obviously like that's probably the biggest challenge with this tour is not having Kriegel, but there's been a lot of other challenges with touring, especially like post-COVID and everything. Did you guys face any other challenges getting everything ready to like come over to the US?
Oh yeah, I mean now with the visas, for example, can be challenging, but of course we have people that help us. Just organizing everything. We have quite a new crew now, many new people. So it's always like organizing, getting everything done, all the visas, and how to ship the equipment, and just to make it flying ready and so on. And I mean it's been almost 4 years since we last came here, so it's always different to tour on a different continent. But we're all super happy. We all were really looking forward to this tour. It's always a pleasure for us to be in North America. It's just always so exciting. It's a crazy country, and Canada is also beautiful. And really, we're super happy to be here.
So you have a new album coming out maybe like this year or next year, and you released a couple of singles from it last year. So what do you think is your favorite part of the album release cycle, like from recording up to release?
I think my favorite part is then to go and play.
Okay, like the tour shows? Okay.
Yeah. So when the new, let's say, album cycle starts, I just love knowing that we will do European tour, we will probably do North American tour, maybe even South America, maybe even Australia, who knows. So for me this is the most fun part. I also really love to record. It's always a challenge, but I feel like I always grow so much as a singer when I am challenged to sing the songs and with cool people working with the producer together, just soaking in all the feedback from the person that records me and so on. I really love that part as well a lot.
Is the challenging part for you like the vocal technique, or is it the mix of languages, or is it a combination?
It depends, I think, on every song. For example, I remember when I had to record Exile of the Gods, which is our latest single. It was very challenging to sing because it's really high. And in the studio, of course, sing it several times and so on, and didn't really know what to expect, how it will go. So that was technique-wise quite a challenge. But also, for example, Iris, which is our second last single. There, for example, I came to the studio and we knew in the chorus I need to have a melody or sing something, but we didn't know yet what. So it was like Jonas, Kriegel, Tommy, the guy that recorded, and me in the studio, and we tried to figure out whatever melody, and that was really cool because it was kind of like a ping pong effect. We were talking, let's try that, hey, what about if we put this on the end, and that was really a cool moment. And sometimes really the magic happens in the studio, if you have enough time, so sometimes it can be too stressful. If you're on a tight schedule, you can't take your time to create in the studio, but I really love that part as well.
Yeah, so I touched on that as well. So in past interviews, I know you've talked about, like, obviously Kriegel's the main songwriter for the band, and then everyone else kind of throws their ideas in. Is that kind of the same process you followed for this album, or did you change anything up?
It is pretty much Kriegel, he has the vision, the blueprint, let's say, he builds the skeleton. And then he's working together with Jonas quite tightly because, I mean, with riffs and stuff, and Jonas is just, he's such a music master. And then everybody adds whatever is needed. Or let's say I can help with some melody ideas, or I can change it up a little bit during the recording process, whatever feels right. Or try to make it work with the Gaulish language and so on. But yeah, it's also a little bit different for every song. Sometimes there are riffs from Rafi or ideas from Matteo coming together. But the base, like the root, is Kriegel, of course. Yeah.
And so also I've read that you don't speak Gaulish, but have you like picked up more and more of it as you've been writing the songs, or do you just kind of know enough to like string the song together and then sing it?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a dead language, so it's not really spoken anymore, but there is actually a guy that, it's a professor from Europe, and Kriegel is always working with him together to get either to get the lyrics translated, or maybe this guy finds a very nice, let's say, prayer or something that we can use, and they're in constant exchange. And he actually released a book about the Gaulish language, so that's really cool. Myself, I'm not fluent. I think nobody is, but of course by now I know like a few words, like, oh yeah, I've heard this one before, but for me it's, to prepare, it takes a little bit of time until it's kind of in the flow, but then once, that's a funny thing, when I recorded then the song, it's all in the system already, because you sing it a few times and then I don't even need to think about it anymore. It was a bit tougher for me to learn the older songs once I joined Eluveitie. It was tight schedule, a lot of songs, a lot of Gaulish songs, and I was like, how should I press this into my head? But it just takes time, just listening all over and over. And knowing some pronunciation rules as well, that helps. When you read it, it's not always exactly how it's written. So once you know that, it's a little bit easier to handle. Plus, my mother tongue is Swiss German, and parts of Swiss German is rooted in the Gaulish language. So I would say it makes it a little bit easier for me to sound more like natural, yeah. Then maybe, I don't know, if you have a very different mother tongue. So that makes it easier for my part a little bit at least.
Aside from Swiss German and English and the little bit of Gaulish, what other languages do you speak?
Swiss German is my mother tongue. We learn High German in Switzerland at school. And I also speak Swedish. Not that fluent anymore, unfortunately, but I spent 1 year in Sweden. There I learned the language, but now I don't use it that often anymore. But I think if I would go back, it would come back again to me. And I'm just a huge fan of Scandinavia, so I love this language too. And it's interesting actually when you sing in different languages how your sound of the voice changes. So that's actually very interesting because of the different vowels and so on, how the language can affect actually the sound of the voice. It's very fascinating actually. Yeah.
Like a couple more minutes? Yeah. So what do you think is the most what do you think is the most useful piece of advice that anyone's ever given you in your music career?
I think that's a tough one because I think the one that really sticks to me is like just go and take a challenge. It was kind of when it was about to be decided if I might join Eluveitie or not. Of course, it's very overwhelming. I mean, I was just a singer. I liked to sing. I sang for weddings and so on. Always wanted to do more with singing and travel the world and but I mean, then to actually take a step from zero to go and join Eluveitie, an established band, and to be watched and maybe also criticized because you step into somebody's footprints and so on. It's really tough, and I was sometimes doubting if I even could do that. And then my teacher back at school just said, "Hey, what can you lose? Just take a challenge and learn from it." And I did it, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. Me? Oh my God!
All right. Thank you.
Wow.